Hello, Idealistas. So, as you know, every day you are now will be completing your novel studies exit ticket, but you have to write down the clues that you have found while Emma was reading, while Austin C was reading, while I was reading, and while Sane was reading. I am not sure if Dakota is going to be able to make the video, but if she is, that will be awesome. So I'm just gonna read. I'm just gonna read that the final part of this one. In the middle of this one, you guys are going to have my clues in this video. Okay, so stay tuned. All right. I have some music too, so I really hope that you can hear it. Okay. So chapter 16 on page 267. He's going up to the castle with her, said Hermione, indignantly. I thought he was waiting for us. Without so much as a backward glance at his cabin, Hagrid was trudging off up the grounds with Madame Maxime. The big, the Bibatoons student following in their wake, jogging to keep up with their enormous stride. He fancies her, said Ron incredulously. Well, if they end up having children, they'll be setting a world record. I agree. Bet any baby of theirs would weigh about a ton. They let themselves out of the cabin and shut the door behind them. It was surprisingly dark outside, drawing their clocks more closely around themselves. They set off up the sloping lawns. Oh, it's them. Look, Hermione whispered. The drums party was walking up toward the castle from the lake. Victor Crumb was walking side by side with Karkaroff, and the other Durmstrang students were striding along behind them. Ron watched Crumb excitedly, but Crumb did not look around as he reached the front doors a little ahead of Hermione, Ron, and Harry and proceeded through them. When they entered the candlelit Grey Hall, it was almost full. The goblet of fire had been moved. It was now standing in front of Dumbledore's empty chair at the teacher's table. Fred and George, clean shaven again, seemed to have taken their disappointment fairly well. Hope it's Angelina, said Fred as Harry, Ron, and Hermione sat down. So do I, said Hermione breathlessly. Well, we'll soon know. The Halloween feast seemed to make much longer than usual. Perhaps because it was their second feast in 2 days, Harry didn't seem to fancy the extravagantly prepared food as much as he would have normally, like everyone else in the hall, judging by the constantly craning necks, the impatient expression on every face, the fidgeting, and the standing up to see whether Dumbledore had finished eating yet. Harry simply wanted the plates to hear, and to hear who had been selected as champion. At long last, the golden plates returned to their original spotless state. There was a sharp upswing in the level of noise within the hall, which died away almost instantly as Dumbledore got to his feet. On either side of him, Professor Karkaroff and Madame Maxime looked as tense and expectant as anyone. Ludo Bagman was beaming and winking at various students. Mr. Crouch, however, looked quite interested, almost bored. Well, the goblet is almost ready to make its decision, said Dumbledore. I estimate that it requires 1 more minute. Now, when the champions' names are called, I would ask them please to come up to the top of the hall, walk along the staff table, and go through into the next chamber. He indicated the door behind the staff table, where they will be receiving their first instructions. He took out his wand and gave a great sweeping wave with it. At once, all the candles except those inside the carved pumpkins were extinguished, plunging them into a state of semi-darkness. The goblet of fire now shone more brightly than anything in the whole hole. The sparkling bright, bluey whiteness of the flames almost painful on the eyes. Everyone watched waiting. A few people kept checking their watches. Any second, Lee Jordan whispered, 2 seats away from Harry. The flames inside the goblet turned suddenly red again. Sparks began to fly from it. Next moment, a tongue of flame shoot into the air. A charred piece of parchment fluttered out of it. The whole room gasped. Dumbledore caught the piece of parchment and held it at arm's length so that he could read it by the light of the flames, which had turned back to blue-white. "The champion for Durmstrang," he said. He read in a strong, clear voice, "will be Victor Crumb." Doesn't surprise me. "No surprises there," yelled Ron as a storm of applause and cheering swept the hall. Harry saw Victor Crumb rise from the Slytherin table and slouch up toward Dumbledore. He turned right, walked along the staff table, and disappeared through the door into the next chamber. "Bravo, Victor!" boomed Karkaroff, so loudly that everyone could hear him, even over all the applause. "Knew you had it in you!" The clapping and chatting died down. Now everyone's attention was focused again on the goblet, which seconds later turned red once more. A second piece of parchment shot out of it, propelled by flames. "The champion of the Barbados Big Batons," said Dumbledore, "is Fleur Delacour." "It's her, Ron!" Harry shouted as the girl who so resembled Avila got gracefully to her feet, shook back her sheet of silvery blonde hair, and swept up between the Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff tables. "Oh, look, they're all disappointed," Hermione said over the noise, nodding toward the remainder of the Bibon's party. Disappointed was a bit of an understatement, Harry thought. Sorry guys, I am putting some music. Oh, there we go. Foreign visitors arrive. This is what we're talking, right? Let me see. Oh yeah, this is what we're talking. Harry thought. Two of the girls who had not been selected had dissolved into tears and were sobbing with their heads on their arms. When Fleur Delacour too had vanished into the sign chamber, silence fell again. But this time it was a silence so stiff with excitement you could almost taste it. The Howards champion next, and the goblet of fire turned red once more. Sparks showered out of it. The tongue of flame shot high into the air, and from its tip Dumbledore pulled the third piece of parchment. Clue for this video: my son's blue fish. Take a look at it. This is the one that he uses in his bath. So, you know, it kind of like squirt water. So there it is. And his train. This is one of the clues. All right. The Howards champions, he called, is Cedric Diggory. "No," said Harry loudly, but nobody heard him except Harry. The uproar from the next table was too great. Every single Hufflepuff had jumped to his or her feet, screaming and stamping as Cedric made his way past them, grinning broadly, and headed off toward the chamber behind the teacher's table. Indeed, the applause for Cedric went on so long that it was some time before Dumbledore could make himself heard again. Wow, he has a lot, huh? "Excellent," Dumbledore called happily as the tumult died down. "Well, we now have our 3 champions. I am sure I can count upon all of you, including the remaining students from the Bibatoks and Durmstrang, to give your champions every ounce of support you can muster. By cheering your champions on, you will contribute in a very real..." But Dumbledore suddenly stopped speaking, and it was apparent to everybody what had distracted him. I wonder, what was it? What do you think it was? You can start talking, and you can say, what do you think it was? Because right now, I have no clue what it was. Let's see. The fire in the goblet had just turned red again. Sparks were flying out of it. A long flame shot suddenly into the air, and borne upon it was another piece of parchment. Automatically, it seems Dumbledore reached out a long hand and seized the parchment. He held it out and stared at the name written upon it. There was a long pause, during which Dumbledore stared at the slip in his hand. And everyone in the room stared at Dumbledore. And then Dumbledore cleared his throat and read out, Harry Potter. Holy smoke. So now there are 4 champions, right? It's Cedric, right? It's Fleur and Victor and Harry Potter. Who would have thought that Harry Potter, right? Oh, I can't wait to see chapter 17 next week. This is going to be super cool, actually. It's a big one, actually. It's a big one. But I cannot wait. I sure love and miss you guys. Remember the 2 clues. The blue fish and the little caterpillar train. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.